who I think now I like to call the most entertaining arithmetic teacher in the whole. And it was just electric, and I know that it just reverberated across the country and reminded all of us how important this election is, and really, as Bill Clinton could do so well, really outline the choices in this election. It was just amazing. And it is important. We do have choices in an election. And I just wanted to take a minute today to talk about one of the really important choices we have in our state in the race for governor with Jay Inslee. And that is about women and their health care. Now, you've probably all seen Rob McKenna on the news running and ducking and yelling at anyone who brings these issues up. And that is really because he wants women across Washington State to believe this is not his focus and that somehow he's different from other Republicans. Well, I've seen this movie before, and I know how it ends. 2 years ago, when I was up for election, Republicans across the country were telling us that's not why we're running. We're running because of jobs and the economy and the deficit, and we're going to go to Washington, D.C. and fix our economy and focus on jobs and the debt. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not what happened. The first bills they introduced in the House of Representatives when the Republicans took over went right after women's health care, taking away a woman's ability to have money for family planning and pregnancy prevention, defunding Planned Parenthood, rolling back all of the gains that we have made. And I was in the room about 16, 17 months ago, and I have not forgotten. The government was about to shut down because we couldn't come to an agreement on funding the government. You may all remember this, 2 hours away from the deadline. And I, as a member of the leadership and a senior member of the Budget Committee, was there with the leaders of the House, the Senate, and the White House, and we had all the numbers figured out. We agreed on every bit of funding. We crossed every T and dotted every I. We were all done. And they said, no, wait, there's one more issue, and we will not move forward unless we defund Planned Parenthood. I happen to be the only woman in the room. Everyone looked at me and I said, no way, shut the government down. And we stood up and we worked hard, and finally they did back down, and we did fund Planned Parenthood and move forward. But that was their agenda. That was their agenda, and they didn't stop there. You remember the hearing where there were no women, and they were talking about contraception. You remember how they tried to defund Planned Parenthood. You remember all of these fights, and I won't even mention Todd Aiken. Prove me wrong, but I have to tell you, they always want women to think we're going to just take care of you, don't worry about it, and then we see what happens. So I am skeptical when it comes to someone who won't tell us where they stand when it comes to women's issues. But I will tell you one more reason to be very skeptical, and that is because what Rob McKenna says and what he does are very different. We worked extremely hard when we passed health care reform to make important gains for women, to make sure that insurance companies couldn't charge you more just because you were a woman, to make sure that you would not be denied health care insurance for a pre-existing condition. And by the way, most women at about the age of 12 start having pre-existing conditions. This affects women. And we made sure that health insurance would cover contraceptives, and your employer couldn't tell you whether or not you would have access to contraceptives in the country. These were state. I love the people I represent. I'm passionate about it, and I know Jay Inslee shares that with every part of his being. I have watched him for years. He stands up and fights for us every time, and he doesn't back down. He was with me when we fought to make sure tankers were built here in Washington State and not overseas in another country. He has taken the lead on bringing new energy policy to our country and to Washington State to create new jobs. He was with me every step of the way when we designated Wild Sky and created a great new wilderness. This is a man who believes in us, our state, and the future, and we are going to be there for him. Jay knows how to bring people together, solve problems, and leave a better place behind him. We are going to work every single day from now until the election and elect Jay Inslee. We're going to re-elect President Obama. We're going to have a great new group of people going up and down the ballot in our state, and we're going to work hard to make that happen. And I will be with you fighting to make sure that happens. Thank you.